Well, I will do a very short introduction because you want to hear from the ambassador. But Ambassador Georgi Panayotov, Bulgarian ambassador to the United States, has a long and distinguished career as a diplomat and currently serving as ambassador to the United States. He was previously the Minister of Defense of the Republic of Bulgaria. He served as the permanent representative of Bulgaria to the United Nations, based in New York. He was also in previous posts as the Deputy Chief of Mission for the Embassy of Bulgaria in Washington, D.C., and in Kabul, Afghanistan, as well in Albania. Thank you very much. He holds a Master of Arts in Politics from Moscow State University of International Relations. Please join me with a warm Kennedy Center welcome to Ambassador Panayotov.
Dobro utro. That was good morning in Bulgarian. One question. Are you Bulgarian? No accent whatsoever. That is a great compliment for the university. No, really. It is not a compliment. It is really, I'm impressed, more than impressed. So thank you very much for having me. Yesterday when I landed at Salt Lake City Airport, it was in the middle of a blizzard. And I thought, oh my God, what have I done? And immediately, in literally 10 minutes after going out, I felt like home. It is because of the climate, probably. Because in DC it's very humid, very hot. I cannot bear humidity. Because of the nature, surrounding mountains. Sofia is the capital of Bulgaria, is located at the foot of the Vitusha mountain, so it looks very much like here. And how the city is organized, streets and houses, no skyscrapers. And most of all, the people, you. So really, I felt like home. I'm honored to be here. It's my first visit to Utah, and rest assured, it's not going to be the last one. I would like to talk about Bulgaria and about America as well. I'm impressed that many of you speak Bulgarian, so you know what is special about my country. Bulgaria is one of the oldest state formations in Europe, for we were founded in 681 AD, long before England, long before Germany. Bulgaria is the only country on the continent that kept its name from the original name Bulgaria. No other country is called like that anymore, including England, for it is the United Kingdom. And it was in Bulgaria where the Cyrillic alphabet was devised. Many people think that the Cyrillic alphabet, which is used in Russia, because Russia is the biggest user of the alphabet, is Russian. No, it's not. At the end of the 9th, beginning of the 10th century, the Cyrillic alphabet was devised in Bulgaria under the supervision of the Bulgarian king. It was a way to introduce script to the Bulgarian people in order to be able to read the Bible. And Bulgaria is the country where the bacteria which produces yogurt was isolated. It's not that the bacteria exists only in Bulgaria, no. It's in the region. The bacteria is in Greece, in North Macedonia, Serbia, Albania, Turkey, Romania. But it was Bulgarian scientists who isolated the bacteria, and that's why the bacteria which produces the yogurt is called Lactobacillus bulgaricum, Bulgarian bacteria. But we lost the trade war here in the United States with the Greeks. Because everywhere you see it, Greek yogurt, Greek yogurt, Greek. No, it's Bulgarian. In Japan, though, in Japan, we won that battle. And in Japan, the yogurt is called Bulgarian yogurt. But we are great friends with the Greeks now. Although we have pretty bloody history with them, but now we are allies and partners within the European Union, allies within NATO, and great neighbors. And I shared it with the leadership of the university. During the times of the Bulgarian revival, that is middle 19th century, when Bulgaria was under Ottoman yoke, in Bulgarian towns and villages, two were the most prominent houses. First, the house of the priest, of the religious leader, and the second most prominent house was the house of the teacher. Because we, the Bulgarians, we cherish the knowledge, we cherish the education, we believe in that, and the Bulgarian parents, including myself, including my parents, we are ready to give everything we have to educate our kids, to educate our children. Because in the education, this is the best investment. Education is the best investment because you are the decision makers of tomorrow. You will decide how this world will develop, where we'll go. This is very, very important. I served as a Bulgarian ambassador to the United Nations, and now I recall a saying by the second Secretary General of the United Nations, the Swede Dag Hammarskjöld. His famous phrase was, the United Nations were not created to bring mankind to heaven, but to save it from hell. And in the preamble of the UN Charter, you can read that the organization, the United Nations organization, was created to save the coming generations from the scourge of war that twice in our lifetime came upon us. Second World War, First World War. Are we on the verge of a third World War? I think not. But Bulgaria, I'm very glad that you have a map here. And I'm happy that most of you know where Bulgaria is, but I'll go now out and I'll point with my finger where Bulgaria is. It is here. This is Bulgaria, a very small country in southeastern Europe, bordering Romania to the north, Greece and Turkey to the south, North Macedonia and Serbia to the west, and the Black Sea to the east. It is situated exactly where Europe meets Asia. This is why we in Bulgaria, we look very differently. Many nations traveled in that territory. We have been 500 years under Ottoman yoke, before that 200 years under Roman occupation. So we look very differently. Our genotype is very different. But now, we are in Eastern Europe. I do recall an interview given by Zbigniew Brzezinski to a Bulgarian journalist immediately after the fall of the communism in Bulgaria. And Bulgarian journalists, with a lot of enthusiasm, excitement, asked Zbigniew Brzezinski, very smart man, where is the place of Bulgaria? He meant in the world. I mean, like east, west, and Zbigniew Brzezinski looked him straight into the eyes and answered, in Eastern Europe. We are in Eastern Europe. Southeastern Europe, to be precise. And that region experienced a lot of turbulences, even in the modern history. You remember about the war in Yugoslavia, and now the tensions are still there, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, including. We border the Black Sea. Through the Black Sea, we have border with Russia, with the Russian Federation. From the Bulgarian-Romanian border to the Romanian-Ukrainian border, 230 miles. So less than from New York City to Washington, D.C. And right now, we are a frontline state. You can feel the tension back home because there is war ongoing. They're several hundred kilometers from our borders. Some maritime mines were discovered in the Black Sea, put there by the Russians. And this creates uncertainty. In the times of uncertainty, what do you need? You need allies. You need allies, you need guarantees for your territorial integrity, for your independence, for your sovereignty. Where do we get these guarantees? Bulgaria. Small country, 6.1 million people population. We used to be 9, but we shrank. We do find these guarantees in our allies, with the United States of America being the major ally, the strategic partner of Bulgaria, and a friend. Without the support of our allies, we cannot resist any Russian attempt to occupy Bulgaria, as they are trying to do with Ukraine. Ukraine is much bigger than Bulgaria. More population, more resources, bigger army, and still they are outnumbered by the Russians. So we need allies. And I'm very thankful to the wisdom of the Bulgarian politicians 20 years ago that led Bulgaria to the membership in NATO. This makes the difference between freedom, liberty, and oppression and occupation. Because if we didn't make that decision to join NATO, we probably would have the same destiny as Ukraine nowadays. But they were wise Bulgarian politician, visionary, that led the country towards the world of the free people. Why is NATO important? Because, believe me, I lived in the times of communism. I didn't have the freedom to choose what to do, to choose where to go, to choose my friends, to make my own decisions. NATO makes the difference between liberty and oppression. And when I say liberty and freedom, I exactly mean not only freedom from foreign occupation. I mean the liberty to travel, the liberty to say what you mean, what you want, the liberty to gather together with your friends, the liberty to make your own decisions, to do what you want, if it's, of course, legal, not illegal things. Earlier, we didn't have that. During the times of communism, we weren't able to go outside of the country. We needed exit visa. No entry visa for another country, but exit visa. I graduated from Moscow State University. Why? Because I was not able, it was prohibited, it was forbidden to travel to the West. I didn't have that opportunity to go to the West. So my family decided to send me to Moscow to study, and I don't regret it. I'm not proud of it, but I don't regret it. As I shared with your leadership, this is how I studied the enemy. Because the Russians, don't underestimate the Russians. They're very clever. They're very, very clever. But they are a nation that doesn't know freedom. They never had freedom in their history. Historically, they never had freedom. And this is the big problem for Europe. This is the big problem for Eastern Europe, where Bulgaria belongs. And this is the big problem for the entire continent of Europe. That the Russian people don't know what freedom is. Their society is authoritarian. They used to live in authoritarian society. And whoever dares to oppose the Tsar, the Secretary General of the Communist Party, or the so-called Russian president, because he's actually a Tsar of Russia, again, Emperor of Russia, Vladimir Putin, is gone. This happened with Navalny. This happened with Boris Nemtsov. This happened with a lot of other opposition leaders in Russia. And we are close to them, very, very close to them. For many years, Bulgaria used to be close to 100% dependent on Russian energy resources, supplies, gas, oil, up to 100% dependent. Today, we are zero dependent. We don't depend anymore on Russian energy resources. We don't import a single molecule of natural gas, Russian natural gas, and we don't import a single drop of crude oil, Russian crude oil. And what is more than that, we do not import Russian nuclear fuel because we do have nuclear power plants in Bulgaria, or nuclear reactors. But we use Westinghouse nuclear fuel for that. Not more Russian nuclear fuel. So this gives me hope, because not being dependent on Russian energy makes us more free. And we have the space to maneuver to take our own decisions. It's an uphill battle, though. Look at the map, how big Russia is. And you barely can see Bulgaria. So we need allies, we need friends. And we not only wait for our friends to do something for us. I was Minister of Defense, and while in office of the Minister of Defense, I took a very serious step. I sent a letter of request to Lockheed Martin for the purchase of F-16 Block 70 last generation F-16 fighter jets for the Bulgarian Air Forces. I started talks about acquiring three-dimensional radars for the Bulgarian Air Force again. And I started talks for the acquisition of onshore-based anti-ship systems based on the Bulgarian Black Sea coast so they can counter Russian ships. So we are not being idle. We don't wait for our friends to do something for us. We are doing something for them as well. Bulgaria, together with Romania and Turkey, that's the new official name of Turkey. It's Turkey. They don't call themselves Turkey anymore. We created counter mine group in the Black Sea. So we clean the Black Sea from Russian mines, and we guarantee freedom of navigation. Why is this important? Because the Black Sea is very important route for energy resources, for food, Ukrainian and Russian grain, because Ukraine is among the largest producers of grain in the world. They supply the world market. Without their grain, we could end up in a crisis, food crisis. So we are doing our part of the job, but being small and not having all the capabilities, we have to rely on our friends. You know what? There was a Bulgarian defense industry delegation recently in Washington. I invited them, and they had wonderful meetings there. And one of the American representatives asked them, look, you're asking for technology transfer, but we are not ready to transfer all the technologies we have to you. I said, fair enough, of course. We don't want you to transfer to us the technology how to build an aircraft carrier. We cannot build an aircraft carrier because even if we allocate 100% of our GDP to defense purposes, the money won't be enough to build an aircraft carrier. And we won't be able to man the aircraft carrier, and it's impossible. So we're looking for what is possible. And we cooperate with the United States in the security realm in what is possible. And there are a lot of possibilities there. By the way, not many of you know that we ourselves, once again, are able to contribute a lot. Bulgaria is among the largest producers of ammunitions in the world. Shells, bullets, you know. And we supply 40% of the needs of the Ukrainian armed forces during this war in their country. 40% are being manufactured in Bulgaria. I'm telling you that in order to give you the bigger picture that while relying on our allies, we do contribute. We do our part. We allocate more than 2% of our GDP for defense. What is more, and what would be interesting for you to know, is that Bulgaria does not participate in any way in any Chinese-led infrastructure, economic or financial project. Zero. We don't do that. Because we think that participating in the OBOR initiative, the Belt and Road Initiative, or other infrastructure projects they are doing in our region and beyond is not sustainable. I've been to China. I was impressed. But once again, the values we share, democracy, rule of law, freedom, liberty, makes Bulgaria part of the Western world, not of the Eastern world. I mentioned the Balkans. And we're there in Southeastern Europe too, on the Balkans. There are alarming tendencies in the Balkans, once again. triggered by Russia, once again. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, between Serbia and Kosovo, so between Serbians and Albanians, between Serbians and Muslims. And we are watching that very carefully because it has the potential to explode. Yet, once again. I can talk to you about many, many other things, but I suggest that I stop here, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have after the grim picture I painted. But grim it is. It's very, very serious. It's very, very serious. Democracy, freedom, liberty, we don't take that for granted. I told you, I lived during the times of communism. I don't take freedom for granted and liberties for granted. They are not. They have to be protected. And to that end, sometimes they require sacrifice. The Bulgarian freedom fighters during the Ottoman yoke had a motto: freedom or death. That was the motto of the Bulgarian freedom fighters. Strikingly resembled the motto of New Hampshire: live free or die. So it's the same. How many of you have visited the Bulgarian embassy in Washington, D.C.? I suppose. Okay, great. Oh, great. So, in front of the embassy, there is a monument of one of our national heroes, Vasilevsky, freedom fighter during the times of the Ottoman Empire, the Ottoman yoke. And the slogan we decided to put on the monument is the following slogan: freedom, and to each his own. So we have to be free, and after that, everything is in our hands. But freedom is the condition, the necessary condition we need to be prosperous, to have happy life, to pursue happiness, as Thomas Jefferson put it nicely in the Declaration of Independence. Thank you very much.
Okay. So the ambassador is left in time for questions.
Thank you very much. My name is Will. I'm a student studying economics. And one question that I had for you, Your Excellency, is you talked about how Bulgaria is situated in the Balkan Peninsula, which is an area that has had a lot of historical and tensions between ethnic groups and nationalities. And like you mentioned, there's some historical tensions between Greece and Bulgaria, etc. What's it been like for Bulgaria's government and its people to work through these tensions, to work towards common security goals as well as other shared goals and whatnot?
You know, when you share the same values with your neighbors, this helps a lot. And we are blessed to have two of our immediate neighbors being in the same family of the European Union. I mean Romania and Greece. Our history with Greece is so bloody you can't imagine. Wars, atrocities, terrible. Now we are so close. We are not only allies, not only partners, we're close friends. Heck, the wedding of my daughter was in Greece this September. Because they like the tiny island there in northern part of Greece, and they decided to organize the wedding there. And we get along, perfectly together. So it's important to share the same values. It's important to share the same values. North Macedonia is a NATO member too, and Turkey is a NATO member too, which helps. Still not EU members, which helps. You have to concentrate on the common interest. Because I strongly believe that if you make trades with your neighbors, if you have common infrastructure projects, if you have good business connections with your neighbors, then you'll live at peace, even if you don't share the same values. Because with Serbia, apparently we don't share the same values. But we are good neighbors, not bad neighbors. We built an interconnector between Bulgaria and Serbia, so Serbia can be supplied with gas coming through Bulgarian territory. They are coming for tourism to us. We go there. And this is how you overcome the confrontation, how you avoid the clash. But if you're not careful, if you give ground to nationalism, then it's getting hot. Then it's getting dangerous. And there is a clear tendency in that direction right now in the Western Balkans. Nationalism is on the rise, not only in the Western Balkans, like almost everywhere on the continent of Europe. Nationalism is on the rise, and nationalism is not meant to be tolerant, you know. Nationalism could be ultimative, and we have to be very careful.
Good morning. I'm Angela. I'm from the Philippines and studying my master's in public administration. My question is, what has been the most challenging aspect of your career and how have you overcome that?
You'll probably expect me to tell you something about Afghanistan. No, I will not. Actually, Afghanistan was one of the brightest pages of my professional career. Great enthusiasm, great experience, great people, the Afghans. Great food. You know, the most challenging and the most difficult thing while being not only a diplomat but a civil servant is when you fail to persuade your own people about something that should be done for your country. If you waste a lot of energy and time to persuade your leadership of what is right, this is the most challenging thing. Take my word for that. In most of the times, I succeeded, but occasionally I failed here and there, and it doesn't feel good. That's it.
Hi, I'm Elena. I'm studying German and European studies, and we just had an election here in the U.S., and I was wondering if you could...
I heard.
Yeah. Really? Well, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the elections in Bulgaria, or I heard it's taken a while to decide what cycle of the election we're on in Bulgaria.
That's easy. The elections in Bulgaria led yet again to an impasse, to a dead end. It looks that it's not going to be possible to form a regular government, which automatically leads us to our 8th preliminary parliamentary elections within 3.5 years. 8th. I myself, I was part of 2 caretaker governments. And we are having now the 8th caretaker government. It's not good. So there is no easy way out of this political crisis, and most probably we'll have to vote again. The politicians are not able to agree virtually on anything. So then we're not talking slight differences here. No, no, no. We're talking conceptual rifts between the political parties. So we'll have to vote again next spring. Yeah, they're still negotiating, but with no outcome in sight. No. Yeah.
Hi, my name's Tyler Jackson. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I'm studying international relations. So Corey was actually teaching us yesterday about some of the unique aspects of diplomacy, and since you've talked about how your country has had to deal with Russia and China in recent years, I was curious of what are some of the unique challenges of working diplomatically or meeting with representatives of a country that stand against so much of what you represent, and how would you recommend to prepare for that sort of thing?
Well, the truth is that we still maintain diplomatic relations with the Russian Federation. After we have expelled over 70 diplomats, Russian diplomats, from the Russian embassy in Sofia, Bulgaria. And they expelled almost everybody from our embassy in Moscow. We do still have diplomatic relations with them, but we don't talk to them. I mean, only on under extraordinary circumstances to avert yet a big crisis or something like that. I don't have contacts with the Russian embassy in Washington, D.C. Never. Never. We don't do that. They are under sanctions. We do not communicate with them. The capital does. The capital, Sofia, does communicate somehow with Moscow on particular issues, but we don't talk with them. With the Chinese, we do have contacts. We do have normal relations, and there the biggest clash is related to human rights, of course. Human rights, because we rejected their kind offer to participate in their economic projects and infrastructure projects. But they don't seem to be so unhappy about that. But they are very much unhappy about us criticizing them for violation of the human rights in China. They are not happy with that. And this is the area where we clash with them. We talk, we defend our positions, they defend their positions, and this is how it is. This is how it is. I'm not going to talk about Taiwan. This is something else. We do think that the disputes between China and Taiwan should be resolved in a peaceful manner. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.